Thank you, Chairwoman DeGette, for convening this important hearing. I know you always move quickly on anything that involves the Investigation Subcommittee. Today, because of a shortage of baby formula, parents and caregivers are seeing empty store shelves, astronomical prices online, or having to drive hours for the formula they need to feed their children. And this is simply unacceptable. And this hearing will explore how this dire situation occurred, the steps taken to address it, and crucially, how we can prevent it from ever happening again. And our solutions will undoubtedly include legislation. The Energy and Commerce Committee has jurisdiction over the FDA and will initiate any authorizing legislation. The data on the extent of the shortage varies based on where a family lives or whether a child needs a specialty formula or a specific type or brand. So some regions have been hit harder by the shortages than others. And disturbingly, low-income women and children who rely on the WIC program for their infant formula have been particularly impacted by the shortage. Now, the shortage rates began to rise in late 2021 due to pandemic-related strains on the supply chain. But there's no question that the February recall of Abbott products and the shutdown of their Sturgis, Michigan plant responsible for the supply crash that we face today. The impact from just one infant formula plant closing in the United States shows the power one single manufacturer has to influence the nation's supply of formula when just three companies control roughly 95% of the market. We're too reliant on too few companies to do the right thing. And when just one of those companies cuts corners, we spiral into an emergency. So there needs to be more competition so that these few manufacturers don't have a monopoly. And I stress that. This committee will examine the circumstances surrounding the recall and shutdown. We'll ask questions about the FDA's investigation of the foodborne illnesses that sickened four infants and led to two of their deaths. We also will ask about issues at Abbott Sturgis facility and the questionably slow timeline of action to address safety risks. And at the same time, we have to address the current shortages and prevent future supply strains by hearing from the FDA, Abbott, and other manufacturers about the supply shortages that they face and the challenges and the steps they're taking to increase the availability of safe infant formula. The FDA officials and executives of the manufacturers need to answer some tough questions. Babies' lives are at stake, and this committee, Congress, and the American people demand answers and solutions. Fortunately, the Biden administration has taken important responsive actions to increase the supply of formula for American families. It worked with manufacturers to increase production at other facilities and encouraged importation of safe infant formula. The president also invoked the Defense Production Act and launched Operation Fly Formula to increase domestic production and bring safe imported formula to store shelves. The FDA has also eased, I should say, import restrictions for 180 days to allow international manufacturers to help address the shortage while ensuring the formula meets our national safety and nutrition standards. Now, Congress has already taken swift action, passing legislation, which the president signed, I believe, on Saturday, into law that grants flexibility to the WIC program to increase the supply of formula available to families. And the House also passed the Infant Formula Supplemental Appropriation Act, providing FDA with immediate resources to resolve the current baby formula shortage and lay the foundation to ensure this never happens again. But we have to do more. My colleagues, I said for years that FDA's food safety efforts have been chronically underfunded, under-resourced, and understaffed. Last week, this committee took a step to help address that by advancing an FDA user fee bill that will strengthen FDA's ability to recruit and retain highly qualified staff across the agency, including in areas overseeing infant formula and baby foods. And that bill will head to the floor in the coming weeks. But additional legislation will be necessary to improve transparency and reporting requirements and to empower FDA to set limits more quickly on contamination. Industry must also do its part to ensure robust internal controls are in place and are being followed to prevent contaminated products from ever reaching a single child. So put simply, Madam Chair, it shouldn't take the direct intervention of FDA and the president to keep infant formula on the shelves. The manufacturers have to take responsibility. And now we must all work together to guarantee the safety and supply of baby formula to ensure the health of our nation's children. And let me just say, the Energy and Commerce Committee will act, as always, on a bipartisan basis to enact the necessary authorizing legislation. So this committee hearing is important, but it'll lay the groundwork for what we have to do legislatively. And I do want to emphasize that and our role in all this. Thank you, Madam Chair, and Thank you for doing so many things of an oversight nature with this subcommittee. I do appreciate it. I yield back.